quote this on me. There is no way the Orioles or Red Sox make the playoffs this season. There's no way. There's no way.
For me, I gotta build a snowman.
I don't think all Mavs fans look into the stats like I do.
I'm mixing names, swapping pitchers' names, and everyone today. So thanks for catching.
I've given up on Drew Lock. I think you trade him.
I set the bar really low at the NBA predictions.
How are we talking about the Thunder in a MLB preview? I have no idea.
That's a perfect name. What you said, name brand players. Like, it's not the Great Value Target brand toilet paper or whatever. It's the Charmin Ultra Strong.
I don't know if Nick Nurse is the coach for the Raptors. I don't know if he's the reason why they won the 2019 championship. I feel like that was more of a team effort. Yeah, this questions the firing of Dwayne Casey, who I think is a very underrated coach. He's making the best of the Detroit Pistons situation.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I was surprised that the Clippers gave up Lou Williams.
Everything's going wrong for the Lakers at the wrong time.
The Mavs cannot say we do not miss Seth Curry shooting threes.
Them losing like 40 players to the Chargers who play online.
I'm just gonna, and it lands to the Dolphins. I'm just gonna have to throw my hands into the air.
I agree 100%, and the reason why I agree is because this is a terrible trade for the long term.
To me, the Capitals really pushed all their chips for this season. So happy belated birthday to Madison Bowie.
Sam Bennett's someone I really expected to be a better player.
Hello, I'm Mike Grimes, and you've been listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our MLB Opinions of the Week. Thank you for joining us, and make sure to check out our previous one where we talked about a lockout. And the deadline was so unnecessary, in my opinion. Like, you extended it. Why not just extend it again? What are your thoughts on that, Austin?
That's definitely true. Now, eventually you did have to set a hard deadline because eventually the time would come where you don't have enough time to create a spring training that's actually useful. But yeah, I agree with you. It could have been extended a little bit longer so that there was more time given for the players and the MLB to come to an agreement. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case, so here we are.
Yeah, and then they're like, oh, okay, we're going to cancel the first two series. Well, you could have waited a little bit more. It just seems like...
Yeah, why first two? Why not first one? I don't know. It just seems like the league, maybe intentionally, is just trying to get the fans out of more games. I saw this one tweet that really did make me laugh right when I saw it, that the MLB has punished the fans more than it has punished the Astros for cheating in 2017. So
yeah, I think I saw that one too.
That is extremely factual, and it's sad to see.
Yeah, and it seems like Manfred is trying to go, hey, it's the players' fault. Well, you actually canceled the games, and you also locked out the players.
Yeah, when the owners lock out the players can't unlock out the players. That's not how it works.
Yeah. So we're doing deal or no deal, and we're going to go over the list of what the owners want, what the players, and what they're disagreeing on. So we'll go with what the owners want. They want to ban shifts, a pitch clock, and oversized bases. And then we'll go into the disagreements that we know about via the several tweets that have talked about the numbers. So do you want to talk about the three? I know I'm fine with oversized bases because if y'all have listened to our How to Fix Baseball, we each did our own rules that we wanted to change. And one of mine was oversized bases. Now, Austin and I disagree. So, Austin, how big are you willing to go for a base?
I'm willing to go half an inch, but I don't know if I'd be willing to go more than that. I feel like going over that would be too much.
I would be fine with half an inch. I just want it a little bit bigger.
Here's the thing. I don't know how big they're wanting to go, and if it's anything over an inch, I'm adamantly against it. If it's 1 inch, I'm willing to talk about it and just see how it looks on the field, see how it affects stealing. But if it's anything over an inch, I'm totally against it, because once you get to like 3 inches, it's just going to become so easy to steal, because you got to think, not only is the other bat closer, but you can get further away from your base because you're 3 inches closer to getting back to your base, so you can lead off further. So I'm against it if it's too much, but I'd have to see. Right now, I'm against oversized bases. I have to see what they're talking about, like exact sizes, before I make a full opinion on the
Okay.
restrictions.
Other two, we both agree. No, just no.
Yeah. So let's just get started. We're doing our own deal or no deal. I'm going to come up, or Kevin's going to come up with a scenario in the middle to see what happens. Do you think both sides would agree to the deal if it came this way? So we'll just start with banning shifts. Do you think the players would agree to banning shifts if they just said only 3 people can be in the outfield at a time? So you can't have 4 people in the outfield like they did against Joey Gallo. Do you think that both sides agree to that?
I'm gonna say no deal. I think, like you mentioned, Joey Gallo. I think he would be for this, but I'm not sure if all the other players would be for this. But I think if like you limited like how many you can have in like a split up the field, and like how you can only have so many players in that area, or like you have to have a minimum of some player in each area, then I think the players would be for that, because I don't think this is, some players would benefit from banning the shift, and Joey Gallo, like we said, but I'm sure there are others. But I don't think it's a big issue to them, so I think they'd be willing to come to an agreement. But with your scenario, I would say no deal.
Okay, so you need it to be stricter than that. Now, do you think they agree if they say that one person has to be on each side of the second base? One player has to be on both sides, so you can't have every player in the infield. I'll say in the infield on one side, like they do again against Joey Gallo, where the shortstop is playing behind second base, the third baseman's playing where the second baseman is. The second baseman's move shifted further over, and the first baseman's obviously where first base is.
I think I would see a deal on that. I just feel the three outfielders is a little bit too strict.
Okay.
So I would want a little bit looser
Now, pitch
from
clock.
the player.
If the pitch clock was 25 seconds, do you think they come to an agreement?
No deal.
No deal. What about 30?
No deal.
35?
No, I'm thinking like 40.
So you think
Because you mentioned 45 off air. Like, what's the longest pitch that's ever been?
I
Like,
don't
how long?
know. I don't know if they even track that stat, but I'm assuming it's been a long time. So you think 40 is the minimum that they would agree upon if the MLB was like
If they
we're
had
not
to.
getting a deal done unless there's a pitch clock? You think the lowest number that the players would agree to is 40?
Yeah.
Now with
What about you?
oversized bases, 2 inches. Do you think the players agree to that? I'm not saying I would, but do you think the players would agree to that? Deal or no deal?
I would say deal. I don't know if I see any players seeing big qualms with 2 inches.
I know I would, but you don't think they would. So let's go into the other half. So this is the other disagreements we've seen. The minimum salary. So the MLB, depending on what the players agree to give up, because there has to be some sort of concessions given both sides. The minimum salary that the MLB has been willing to give is 700,000, and then below that 650 if the MLBPA gives up nothing towards the players, or the players give nothing towards the league, and that was going to go up 10,000 per year. The players wanted 725,000 to go up 25,000 per year. That's pretty far away when you're looking at the amount it goes up. That quickly gets up much higher than the league's value. And then there's also a new playoff format. The league, I I think wants it to be 14, maybe eventually 16 soon, which would be crazy. And I'd be adamantly against going that high, as we've seen with the NBA. I'm adamantly against the play-in. 20 teams should not be making the playoffs. I know they don't technically count it as the playoffs, but it's the playoffs. And then the players, I think it's going to be 12, but that's just so they can get a little bit of leverage on their side. And then, do you want to talk about the CBT and the arbitration?
Yes. So CBT is the oh my gosh, it's the competitive balance tax. And so the owners The next 5 years, players would like it raised. The owners would like, so each year, I'm just going to go 1 through 5. 220, 220, 220, 224, 230. So the first 3 years, or the next 3 years, the owners would not want to raise the tax at all. The players, however, would be 234, 244, 250, 256, 263. They want it to increase dramatically each year. And then arbitration, the owners just want to go from 25 million to 30 million. That's it. The players want it to be set at 85 million, and it increases annually by 5 million. So very different sides from the players and owners. So that's that. So I guess we're going to go through the playoff format, or they've already agreed to the playoff format. It's 12 teams.
Well, they tentatively, I mean, it could go up to 14. We'll see. But I don't think we need to touch on the playoff format because that's pretty secure. But let's go with minimum
Okay.
salary. Do you think if the MLB said, hey, we'll do 715 going up by 15, do you think the players agree?
I would say yes. I think that's a good middle ground. So like you get 715. So I think deal.
Now, what if it was 700,000, but they said they'll go up 25,000? Do you think the players would agree with that? So it goes up higher, the same amount that the players would want next year is what they would get. They wanted this year. So after this season, they would get the 725 that they wanted for this year. It goes up the same amount, but they start at a lower price. Do you think they say yes to that? I would say, I know I'm not. The dealer normally doesn't say deal or no deal. Well, I think they would say deal. What do you think?
Yeah, I would definitely think they say deal. Like, okay, we're down 25, but we're increasing 25 grand per year. So I think that would be maybe better deal there than starting at 715 plus 715 per year, or 15 per year. 15 grand.
Now about the CBT, do you think the players would agree if it started at 224 and then went up by 4 every year?
I'm going to go no deal.
What about 226 up 4 every year?
I'm thinking. I'm going to say no deal.
226 up 5?
No deal.
226 up 6?
Deal. So, yeah, I think that's a big bargaining chip for the players.
And then for arbitration, the last thing, do you think the players would agree for 50? No increase. It doesn't go up.
No increase, no deal.
You don't think
I don't think no
that's
deal.
double
I
what
think they want the increase.
But the increase is only from what the players want is 5 million increase, but that would be annually. The owners just want to go up once to 30 million, and the next agreement will be at the next CBA. So it would just stay at 30 until the next collective bargaining agreement. But that is a big margin to go up for the owners. How much do you think they would have to add annually for the players to agree?
I think $1 million or $2 million. In my opinion, if it's going up annually by some amount, but if you start at 50, then I'm cool with it. Then there's a deal.
But you don't think 50 flat?
No 50 flat. I think anything flat, the players are like, no, we want an annual increase, which makes sense because of inflation and stuff.
Okay.
Okay, so now my turn. Or can I mix?
Yeah, sure.
Stuff. Okay. So let's say the owners are willing to agree to the players' arbitration. Like they will go, we will give you 85 million to 5 million increase annually if you let us expand the playoffs to 14 teams.
No deal.
No deal.
No deal.
Anything at 14 teams?
I don't think 14. I don't think 14 teams will be it. I've looked at a lot of tweets. Jock Peterson was like, So after this agreement, every team makes the playoffs and every team gets a participation trophy. So by that tweet, I'm implying that is a no. 12 teams
Okay.
may be agreed upon, but I don't see it going up. I don't see a scenario unless they go over that. Unless they say 100 million for arbitration, then I would probably say deal. But not for 85. And the 100 million again would have to be with the 5 million increase also. So unless it's some crazy number, if the league is like, we'll get that money back anyway if you go up to 14. The only way I think they agree is if they supersede what the players are already asking for.
Okay. So now I'm trying to think of what other scenarios can I make for the CBT. The owners, what would it take? The owners get what they want with 220, 220, 220, 224, 230. And they agree to no change in number of playoffs, but they only do
By that you mean 12,
40.
correct? You mean it stays at 12? It doesn't go up from 12, or do you think it
No, it goes
stays
back
at
to what it was
10?
last year.
10?
It stays at 10.
Okay.
And
I think the owners. I mean, ooh. Continue.
but the owners only do arbitration 40 flat.
Let me ask you this: do the players get their minimum salary with plus the 25?
No.
Then no.
Okay.
No deal.
All right. I believe that's all I got.
Okay. Well,
Any other?
no, I'm all good. I just hope we get a deal done soon, so that not too many games are lost.
Yeah. And that goes on to we just finished deal or no deal. What do you think of Mike Trout tweeting and Instagramming? He said he's willing to sit out a year. But to me, I understand what Mike Trout is doing. But Mike Trout, you're going to be fine if you miss a year. It's all the players that just got to the big leagues and aren't making much. I don't see them willing to sit out a year. So what are your thoughts on that? Because with me, I get what you're saying, Mike Trout, but you have to think about the other guys.
The little guy.
Yeah.
I understand your point, but at the same time, I kind of agree with Trout. The only way you're going to get more money is if you, even for the little guy, because that's what they're fighting for, by the minimum salary, by the arbitration for those players who are still potentially under arbitration. They're fighting for those guys to get more pay, but like you said, if they don't play this year, they're eventually going to lose money. Now,
like how? Yeah,
I think the best way to do this is if everyone just goes signs in Japan. The way to put the way to put a lot of pressure on the MLB is if you just say, well, screw it, we're going to Japan. And when you see Trout hitting 500-foot homers in Japan, the league's going to be like, oh, wait, they're still playing. We're the ones losing money. They're getting paid to play in Japan. And if they did that, or go to the Korean Baseball Organization, the KBO, that could also be another way out. And I think if one major player who's a free agent is like, I'm done. If Correa signed with a Japanese team for a 1-year deal, the league shockwaves would go across the league. Shockwaves. If you just said, I'm done with this, I'm signing with another league, Mexican league, Dominican league, KBO, Japanese league, any one of those leagues, it would destroy all of the owners' leverage. Now, I'm not saying they should do that. What would you say?
How long is Correa? What's the hypothetical contract? I don't need money. I was just how many years?
1 year. Just Correa's like 1 year? Okay. A 1-year deal. Yeah, sign me for $5 million for 1 year, KBO team, if you can pay that much. Or I don't know how the contracts work. I don't know how much they rake in money wise. I'm assuming they could pay that. If not, then whatever the highest amount is that they'd be willing to pay for a 1-year contract, and that team would probably win the championship. Even though one player can't do it, as we've seen with Trout, but I feel like a lot of players in the Japanese league would want to go to that team. It'd kind of be like a super team eventually. But especially if other players joined them. Like, what if Clayton Kershaw and Correa went to go play for the same Japanese team?
Okay.
And then,
but you're not saying they should.
I'm not necessarily saying they should, but we've seen it before. We've seen in other lockouts, NHL lockouts, guys go play overseas. We've seen NBA lockouts, guys like Kevin Durant and LeBron were playing in the Drew League, which is it's a professional league, but at the same time just kind of like a for fun league. I don't really know how to explain it, but it's really cool to watch, and you should watch it if you have time on your hands. But they just went to go play with another team. They were just like, we're done waiting. I'm going to continue playing basketball, and in this case, continue to play baseball until we come to an agreement that I can actually respect.
Okay. I was more thinking like some of the players, like some of the guys who've made millions and millions of dollars, just help out the guys on their teams. Like, hey, or while we wait, here's some stuff we can do. Here are some jobs. Just so they can stay afloat. Because it's really difficult to make it, or to get drafted and to get signed in the minor leagues. Then it's extremely difficult to get to the majors.
Yeah,
So, and
but
then
if an
stay there.
influx
So,
of those players just decide to go to Korea, South Korea, or Japan, those players are still highly, highly valuable in the MLB, and those jobs will be uh, given up to other players. And I mean, again, the league is going to have a crisis if that starts to happen. That's when they lose all their leverage. I'm not saying they should. They will make less money over in Japan. They will not be where their family is here in the USA. They won't, or if they played in Canada, Toronto. Uh, but
but it's a statement.
it's
Like,
it's we're done.
not backing down.
It's the argument is over. We either get what we want, or I'm going to play in Japan for the rest of my career. Like that's the two sides. It's like if the NBA was like, we're gonna go play in China, the CBA, or we're gonna go play in the Spanish league, or we're gonna go play in Australia.
Okay, gotcha. I just want clarification. I think I'm just wondering how far the players can go, and if they can make it to where the owners are like, "Oh no, we're out," because the first two series,
Yeah.
that's not going to affect the owners. I think a month is when the owners start like, "Okay, maybe I'm losing a couple mil." How much do they? I think maybe like $500,000 first month.
More than that, because of jersey sales
Okay.
and ticket prices and just other gear that they're selling and futures tickets. MLB TV gets money to the teams for watching their games on their broadcast. I think they lose
So
millions.
okay, so do you think a month is when the owners
No.
start going, okay?
No,
No?
I think they wait till at least half the season gone.
Okay. So, okay.
I don't think the owners care. The owners care about money in the future, and they're willing to risk money now, knowing that they have more money in the bank than the players to say, okay, we'll see. Both sides are calling each other's bluff. But I could only imagine if Correa, Chris Bryant, and Freddie Freeman went to one Japanese league team, and then the world explodes.
Okay.
I
What happens if
don't
a
know.
team like someone should just totally sign up to do a USA MLB?
Yeah,
Like
I know.
USLB.
Well, just yeah.
Why did I just say USLB? USB. Except that's probably monikered because
What does the S stand for? Oh, the U. Oh, yeah.
US baseball.
League.
UB?
UBL.
UBL?
USBL. USBL. U.S.
Or
Baseball League.
United Baseball League.
Okay. Yeah.
Take out the states. They're united because the owners and players agree.
Well, I was wondering that, like, how much money do you think it costs to make your own league? And I'm like, I'm pretty sure the players would pay for a good bit of it if they could just get all their rights. And now they'd make less money now, but they would have a lot of control over their league. What if Trout and Garrett Cole and Giancarlo Stanton, a lot of guys with a lot of money, just like, let's just put our money together and make our own league.
And like call up the other baseball players like, hey.
Yeah,
past
players
baseball
get
players.
80% of the power.
Like Derek Jeter. Maybe that's why Derek Jeter stepped down. He's going to create the ULB. What was the name of it?
UBL.
UBL. That's what Derek Jeter's doing.
It could be ULB, United League of Baseball, just like Major
I
League.
couldn't remember what I said. I just knew it had a U and a B in it, and now I had an L. So, That's what we're thinking about Derek Jeter stepping down. He helped the Yankees get Stanton. He's like, all right, I'm going to go build my own league.
That would be crazy. And him, A-Rod, David Ortiz, Ichiro Suzuki.
Oh, and then, A-Rod owns the Timberwolves, so he's making some money.
He's definitely making some money.
Yeah. So that's our MLB episode for this week. While the MLB is still not happening, hopefully, fingers crossed, something happens. Come on, owners, do something. And thank you for listening to Outsiders Opinions.